Oh, we're rolling?
Did you wear that shirt? Wait. I have to ask. Did you wear this exact same shirt last time?
Oh, no.
Does anyone know?
That would be my luck.
Wait. Paige.
We don't like outfit rememberers. Outfit repeaters okay. We don't tolerate outfit rememberers.
Is this a thing? Is this like a TikTok?
Oh, yeah. No, it's just like a life rule. If I've worn this outfit, no, I haven't. I've changed a shoe. I've changed an earring. I've changed something. It's none of your business. You don't remember it.
You never walk into the same river twice.
No, of course.
Well, wait, Paige, your hair color is different.
My hair color is different. I keep forgetting. Yeah.
I do remember that. I don't remember what Zac was wearing, but I do remember you had a different hair color.
Well, you
I
are
didn't remember what
facing
I was
her.
wearing. I brought a different shirt today just in case. I was like, I don't know if there's like Cubs licensing or something. I was like, I'm going to pack a black t-shirt. Just
Cubs licensing.
I don't know.
For this very popular podcast.
YouTube. Watch out. Don't sue us.
Now I am kind of self-conscious that I wore the same shirt. It's like, but I'm wearing a hat.
No,
Like,
I don't think you did.
Okay.
I don't think you did.
okay. I did. Well, Paige got a new shirt at the Goodwill or something.
Oh, Riverside Antique. Have you ever been there?
Ooh, I haven't.
My favorite place in Evansville.
So is that the one off of Diamond?
It's Riverside and 41.
Oh, okay.
It's like a bright yellow building.
Yes, I've been there once.
It's the best place. And there's like a separate but not physically connected, but I think like administration connected building behind it called Sailors. And I can't afford a single thing there. That is like furniture, but it's all just great vibes. Walk
I
around.
thought you were going to say like it was like a clothing store that you couldn't afford. And I was like, I've been to your crazy expensive clothing store in Queens. Like,
That was a good one. Also can't afford that.
It was good, but also I can't afford a $200 for a pair of vintage
shoes?
No.
blue jeans.
No. But that's like such a thing right now. Like
It really is.
elevated basics. So then you have them for forever. It's a lot of people like combating fast
I
fashion.
know. I'm
and-
so mad at some of the stuff I got rid of.
Yeah. That's
So
come back around.
I'm gonna give you this advice. You're in your 20s. Keep
everything.
20s.
all of your clothes.
That was so aggressive again. We
Oh
already
my
have this
gosh,
fight.
Zach.
What generation do
We're
you
about
identify
to
with?
we're about to pop you out of this
Yeah.
podcast for that comment.
We already talked about aging. First episode was the late 20s. Stop it.
It's not just a theme. It's the identity of this podcast.
It's just my crisis podcast.
aging with paging.
I quit.
It didn't work. Age with Paige. Hey, that
Age with Paige is a little
that
better.
sings right there. Age with Paige.
That's my Zach Parsons projects.
There you go. All right. So what do you like identify with the generation?
No, I feel like Gen Z and millennial both.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the cusp. I'm like the first year of Gen Z.
Well, and we're cuspers too.
Wait,
with-
what are we on the cusp of? Millennial and what else?
X? No, Z. Yes. X?
I always forget. I'm very bad at forgetting.
So we were both born in 1980, and like certain people cut it off at different times. But I feel like we skew more towards millennials.
I don't know. What do you think I skew more
I
as?
think you skew more millennial, which is good because it's younger.
Slay.
Oh my god! You just now you went full boomer. Dear God.
No, boomers don't know what Slay is. No way.
I don't think she knows what slay is either. She just says it.
Slay is a way of life. It's okay.
Oh gosh, the slay era. I don't know what the kids are saying these days, but I don't think they're saying slay anymore.
They're not, but it's
No,
like a joke
we
to
like
say
to
Slay.
keep saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it makes them cringe a little bit.
Yeah. But
Still do say cringe.
I thought you hated cringe. I thought that was like one of your least favorite
To
things.
say it?
No, to the embodiment of cringe.
Oh, yeah. There is something about judging somebody who you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's so cringe. It's like, no, that's authentic.
Don't yuck
Get over
somebody's
yourself.
yum.
Yeah, that's it. I like that one. Don't yuck someone's yum.
I love that one.
Yeah,
That's
the
a
people
good
who just
saying.
like.
Did Tracy come up with that?
No, that was, I don't know where I came up with it, but somewhere.
Yeah,
I think it was a show. Yeah.
Shout out to Tracy, Paige's mom.
All of my sayings. That's what I'll keep. That's what comes back around is all of my mom's sayings. But no, Riverside Antique is like you walk around and it's just there's a lot of mid-century modern stuff. There's a lot of like cooler, curated older pieces rather than just going to like a vendor market, which can be kind of dirty and crusty sometimes. This feels really intentional, and it's just my favorite place to go, like once a month and walk around. And there's one girl that does have clothes that she curates too, that you can find good pieces for affordable prices sometimes, but most of the time it's just like, I just want to go look at cool older stuff and dream and hope to own an Eames chair one day, even though I never will and have no use for one. But yeah, it's really cool, and it's really inspirational, which is
Nice.
kind of our topic for today too. So I know we all just came out of a meeting with Sprout designer Rachel Wambach about redoing our branding and our logo after 10 years of kind of riffing on the same similar but different set of typefaces and like iconography. So how are you guys feeling after that?
Yeah. I feel really good at the end of it. We definitely came into it both a little more of like dread.
Yeah. Branding meetings are just tough because you don't exactly know what you want, but you know you like it when you see it. And you also know you don't like it when you see it. So I think we were both feeling like we didn't love.
Well, yeah, because you have like an initial like design about, or a meeting about what kind of concepts or themes or elements that you think you want. Like, hey, can we try this? Hey, can we try that? Hey, can we try this? And then oftentimes the designer will go off and try to create, as close enough of a version or multiple versions of that. And then, that's what we sort of saw. She gave us what we asked for.
Yeah. And we're always difficult because we're very different in what we like. So we're like a designer's worst nightmare because we come into the meetings and Zac's like, I like moons and stars and spaceships. And I'm like, I want something classic and modern and clean.
You make me sound like a child. Can you do it with crayon?
Look at your shirt. Come on.
Your shirt that you maybe wore twice.
So I think today was awesome because somehow we all sat down to that meeting and like the stars aligned. We saw this font that we were all really into.
Yeah. I think there's a school in town that has a font on the side of the building. And I like found a picture of the school, flipped on my computer, showed it to her, and she's like, that sounds like blah, blah, blah. And then does a quick Google search, flips her computer around, and we're both like, that's it.
So like if we agree on something immediately, that's a yes for our business. Yeah. That's like that's that little sweet spot in that little diagram where we're together. Whatever that's called.
Tiny little sliver where the two become one.
Sliver.
Yeah. But no, I do. I feel good. I mean, but you're like vice president. Like you care about this brand. You get to play with the brand, like a lot of our merchandise design, cup designs, menu designs. Like you get to sort of play and have like variations on that theme. So like, how did you feel about both what we walked into and what we walked out of?
I agree with you guys. I think we were all on the same page, like coming into the meeting, and then it's like hard kind of treading the balance. Also the sweet spot of like, we do need a logo that's classic and can evolve over time because you don't want to change your branding all the time and confuse a customer and them not even know like what's going on with Honeymoon anymore. But then like, I like to operate in a lot of trend as well and seeing like how we can market things differently, how we can keep up with trend without it being like superficial or not feel authentic for us, and like know what trends are actually like valid and what's going to stick around and become like a core design movement or whatever. So I felt like that really hit like a sweet spot for me as well, of seeing like we can update and still find something that's timeless as well.
Yeah. I think the key is update without a huge
overhaul.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know there's been a couple local brands that had a huge departure from their like core branding that have been in business for a long time, and it was just jarring for everyone.
Yeah.
It was like
throwing shade over here. No, I'm racking my brain. Who's she talking about? Yeah, don't mention it.
I'm not mentioning it. I'm not mentioning it. I'm just saying it was a good like let's avoid something like this.
Yeah, because it can go either way. There's a few, like, I can think of that I really like how they've updated branding, and some that it's like, I feel nostalgic for their old branding. Like, I miss what I knew as a kid growing up, and that's kind of, like, unique to local business as well. Like, the Sam's Club app changed their logo.
I saw that. I was like, what is this?
Terrible. I hate it. Sorry, Walmart owning Sam's Club. Sorry, hate it. But it's like, it's also Sam's Club, and I don't really care. Change your
Sam's,
logo. Can you, like, change your app to make it better, too?
Yeah, you don't need to be contemporary. Just keep your classic branding.
Right. Like, I do not care. Whereas local business, it's like,
Zach has no idea what we're talking about.
I do not know what you guys are talking about, but I mean, like, I feel like I do care about some of these things, and when a brand makes a move, like even like us with the intro to the podcast, it's like, here are these different variations of where we've been, and like, yeah, some of them you do kind of cringe. You're like, oh. But there was a time where we had some sort of full body yes to it, of like, that's it, let's go, print it, run with it. Yeah. And I feel like I do tend to like the optionality of trying something, and hey, if it doesn't work,
yeah,
flip it back.
Yeah, and we're not a national brand, so we can definitely get away with being more playful in our branding.
And we have a lot of avenues to explore branding, which is nice too, like menus, seasonal menus, merchandise, cups. We're talking about doing like wax paper tray liners. Like, it's nice that there's a lot of different formats to do different branding, stylization, and like different branding will work on a plastic cup that may not work on a hot cup, that may not work on a t-shirt. Like, it's really fun to kind of see how all of those pieces of a puzzle play together.
I
to
know.
make a brand.
And your role when you started really had nothing in this realm, but now you're doing a lot of this. Are you liking that side of your job?
I really like it. It's where I get any, like, not any form, but most forms of creativity, I think, in my role. And I don't know, it's like it's a good stretch for me to look for different inspiration in different places, and also like to learn to apply, like, I have my own personal interests that can be a lot more funky than maybe like the Honeymoon brand, and to learn how to dial that in for like what we're looking for just specifically for Honeymoon. And so it's like a fun exercise too, where it's like a problem to solve, but then to creatively apply a solution for it.
And see if you can get both of us to like it.
Or at least not hate it.
Yeah. Well, and I also, like, there's some parallels to me about how musicians and bands, like, have, like, they are themselves, unless they have, you know, big membership change or something like that. But it's like, all right, here's this new album, and maybe they need to go into a different direction, like musically, and the art, you know, the cover art or whatever, like, reflects that, and maybe a variation on how they spell their name, or what the title of the album is. Like, I love seeing stuff like that, and they're not always hits. You take a big swing sometimes and you miss, and people will be yelling to the stage, you know, play the hits.
It is interesting to see like what stays tried and true, and how customers respond to it as well, and like what they like and what they dislike, and who's like loyal.
Love the old Honeymoon.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, who was I talking? Oh, we were talking about someone that we both know that came into Weinbach since the renovation, and he was like, I don't like it. It's not as grungy or whatever word. And it's like, well, it's 10 years old. It probably
needed a little refresh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Whereas like my sister-in-law that lives around the corner was like, I love it. You should have done this 5 years ago.
Oh, gosh. And I mean, that's a good lesson in business. You can't make everyone happy. And we now get messages all the time like, bring back this one drink that you had on the winter menu in 2023. And they're like really upset that you like transitioned or updated your menu. And so there's always like those things that happen.
Yeah, and living in the Midwest, I think we all feel, because we like to keep our finger on the pulse of things, maybe a little more in travel. And living in the Midwest, things find us slower. So it's like, how can we appease our customer? Even if we're not necessarily like appeasing ourselves at all times, like it's not about us. Like we wouldn't have the doors open if it wasn't for the customer. So how do we like assuage ourselves to appease our customers all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, like, this kind of makes me think of like, I mean, you and Ethan and Jacob and Destiny, like Mindy, like are always bringing things in about like, hey, I went to this coffee shop and fell in love, and we're going to taste the coffee. And also, hey, let's look at the bag. You know, how do they lay out their name and their logo and all of these things? And you don't steal, but you get inspired, or it's an homage to these elements that somebody else does that hits you.
Absolutely, yeah. Our coffee shop for the month is Valor this month that we'll be talking to, and I think our manager at the Weinbach location was like, "Sorry, I never owned coffee merchandise except for Valor until like recently. Like Honeymoons has been really good," and it's like, okay, that's a challenge for me. Like, heard, I see you,
Well,
and I'll find a way.
And that's Ethan's wife, and like Ethan is the one. So Ethan's our lead roaster, and we'll get to spend some more time with Ethan with the interview with Valor here, and then in Jacob's Corner as well. But it's like you have to trust that like Ethan's perspective is like a part of Honeymoon's identity at this point. So like the stuff that speaks to him shows up in how Ethan produces the coffee that we enjoy, and how he weighs in on the design pitches that Paige will throw out there. And I don't know, I really like that part of how we collaborate around making. It might be Jessica that makes the final decision, but I feel like you do a good job of sourcing that from the team.
Thanks, babe.
Sometimes you don't enjoy my suggestions as much, but I'm just a child over here.
That's okay. Well, we'll go to the Valor conversation now if you guys are ready to talk.
Yeah. We had an awesome conversation, and the coffee for the month did not actually arrive in time. So for Jacob's Corner, we're actually going to let Ethan show off a little bit. So I know you and Jacob are going to talk about the roasting process and then brew us up some coffee. And we're also going to do something a little different. Instead of us doing the conversation of the ritual here together, sort of side by side, we're going to sit out in our cafe and kind of face to face, and you'll choose a couple questions for us and let us go have a semi-private moment reflecting together as a couple.
Fun.
Save me some awkward conversation about aging.
All right.
Can't wait for this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So now you guys are coming to us from like different places, like different cameras, but are you actually in the same place, or where are you guys coming from?
Ethan is in the back room of our 44 Milton location, which is our first location. And then I am in our shared office here at our HQ, like our roastery.
I thought you were about to flip around the camera and
we
give
thought
like
you were gonna
a
flip the
tour or
camera.
something.
Now I was just giving you guys a hug.
Oh, that's nice.
This is our office. All of our desks are in a line.
Just like our values aligned.
It's great.
Yeah.
Well, and timing wise, is it true that you guys like just came back from like a leadership retreat, like sort of an annual get your heads and hearts together kind of thing?
Me? Yeah. Well, we were. It's kind of more of a cutesy anniversary trip. So we were just celebrating 10 years of Valor. We started it when we were 19, 10 years ago, and so we try to take like an owner trip every year. And sometimes they're sexy, and sometimes they're just practical. And this one was a little bit more like let's go experience some high-end hospitality coffee experiences in the big city. And so yeah, we just got back from that, and then of course wouldn't be a work trip if we didn't add on a little wholesale visits to friends in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And so Ross and I kind of ended the trip that way. But yeah, it was sweet. Wasn't it sweet, Ross? Say it was sweet, man.
It was so sweet, man.
Good.
So when you say big city, you're talking about New York City, like Big Apple, big city.
Yeah. New York. I know. Pretty cool.
And like World Cup stuff was happening. Did you like feel any of that energy in any of the places you were at?
Everyone was
Ross?
watching the World Cup. The main event that happened was the New York Knicks parade.
That's
So that-
right.
This I'm about to say the most hipster statement I've ever said in my life, but in order to get away from the parade, we actually went and got coffee in Brooklyn.
And
That's
cool.
what honeymoon coffee is.
Come on, we love coffee though. Where are you guys coming from?
Ethan, you start. You lowercase Ethan.
Yeah. Well, there's a honeymoon coffee in Brooklyn and Queens, kind of right there on the border. That
Oh,
my wife
cool.
and I went to,
Yeah. It's
like 2 years ago. Not us, but I am at our West Side location, just kind of like on our little alley side ramp, where it's a little bit more quiet. But that's where we also have our roastery, Evansville Coffee Co., and where I cook the beans.
Cook.
Yeah.
Nice.
and I'm
Master
just
chef.
I'm in my backyard, so figured I had the strongest internet connection, and I was gonna go with that.
You're kind of dripped out in some Guatemala swag, Guatemala mug,
Yeah, dude.
Guatemala kit. What's going on?
Well, I put on the shirt and then I reached for a mug and it just happened to be the same thing. But I'm actually like drinking coffee from Colombia. But we'll edit that part out. We'll just say it's all on Guatemala all the time.
Done.
That's smart. Smart.
Well, we are super excited to be able to talk to you guys a little bit about your origin story. And this is actually a twist for us a little bit with our podcast, because usually it's my wife and I, the co-founders of the Honeymoon Coffee Company. But in our relationship, our dynamic is a little bit of me forcing her to do things that she doesn't always want to do, to varying results. And one of the cool things about this is when I said hey, what if we let Ethan help with the interview conversation this time? He was just as excited to do it as she was not excited to do it, which has nothing to do with you guys at all. Just more she's just not feeling, podcasts kinds of things. So I thought maybe to start out, Ethan can explain how you guys came on his radar and his experience of your shop, and then ask you guys a little bit more about your origin story from different perspectives. So Ethan Price, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. My wife and I, we got married 5 years ago, coming up this August, and our honeymoon was essentially just traveling back from our wedding in Florida back to Evansville and just hitting up coffee shops along the way. And so
Heck yeah.
Valor was on her radar. I think she had just saw from a few friends who had been there that there was a disco ball with a little Peppa Pig on it at the Alpharetta location, and that's
Catnip.
very much very much my wife, Sam. She's great. And so I remember we went there, and as soon as we walked up to the door, we saw another friend of ours just sitting in the windowsill at the shop, and he was a musician friend, and so it felt weird to walk in and just catch up with him. We met a really kind barista behind the bar. I think it was Elijah Knapp at the time, or Ross. There was a picture maybe even at some point too, but I think we just were wow, that was a very amazing experience. We told them that we were on our honeymoon, and we just got really celebrated with sprinkles and stickers and first timer stuff, and a little candle in our pastry, and it just felt we should make this a tradition to come back every year on our anniversary. So that's what we do, and it's been delightful each time. We went to the other location, the Dunwoody. And that was nice. Yeah.
So Ethan had that experience, and he came home and raved about it to all of us and shared it, and we've taken some of that energy and even some of those practical things that you guys did and tried to incorporate it into some of our shops and our experiences, but then also realized that you guys are in the practice of sharing these sort of hospitality and culture best practices or learning experience or whatever, as a part of a broader brand, outside of Georgia. And so that's how you got on my radar, and I've started following the Instagram and the YouTube channel and all the content you guys are doing, and so that's where I want to go with this conversation, is how you guys got there. But now that you heard about how Ethan discovered you all, whoever wants to go first, I'd love the origin story of how you all met each other.
Ross, I'm so nervous, dude. Please go ahead. I'm gonna blow it. I need to build off what you say.
You sure, man?
Yeah, I don't want to say anything embarrassing about you. So,
Oh,
you
please.
teed up.
That's the best part. As long
So-
as it's real.
Right. Right. Well, it all started in first grade when our other business partner, his name is Riley. He and I went to elementary school, middle school, all the way up through high school together. And when we were graduating high school, we just started to really get into coffee. We were making pour overs at home and getting espresso machines from the thrift store and trying to fix them, and just got really, really into coffee. And so we got a job at a coffee shop collectively, like he and I at the same place.
Package
And
deal.
yeah,
That's right.
and one day someone called the shop we were working at and asked the owner if we did espresso catering. And this was in like 2016, 2015. And like coffee carts weren't as much of a thing back then. So like her asking that was the first time I had really ever heard of a coffee cart. And that kind of gave us the idea to start a coffee company, because that's what we really wanted to do, but with a lower barrier of entry, not a full cafe, not a full roastery, starting with the cart was how we started. And right as we started taking steps to take action there is when we met Ethan. So in North Georgia at that time, like an hour north of Atlanta, there was no specialty coffee anywhere. And he worked at this, oddly enough, it's a confectionery kitchen is what he calls it, but really it's a marshmallow store where they sell marshmallows.
Nice.
And they had a little espresso bar in the front that serves Stumptown coffee. And so Riley and I were like, whoa, Stumptown coffee within a 30-minute radius of our house, we have to go. And we walked in and Ethan was there. And the first time I ever hung out with Ethan was the next day after meeting him. And I was telling him, I'm going to go apply for some barista jobs in the big city in Atlanta. And if I don't get any of them, I'm going to start my own company and you can be the first employee. And that that is exactly what happened. But now we are all equal partners, because we forgot to pay him for the first 2 years.
So, like, in a day, like, his vibes were just so clearly aligned and values. Like, maybe have Roscoe just a little bit more about that first impression of Ethan, and then Ethan can pick up the story about, vice versa.
Well, we were 19 years old, so we had no solidified, like, oh, he's values aligned, or like, yeah, that would make sense strategy-wise. It was just like a friend who also liked coffee, and just hanging out the next day just became fast friends. And at that age, it's like I didn't know anything at all. And so just having someone next to me who was interested in what I was interested in and like wanted to do it was enough for me.
What do you remember,
sure,
Ethan?
Ross? Are you sure it wasn't like I was the coolest, nicest person you've ever met or anything like that?
No way.
Oh,
No
yeah,
way.
no. Well, yeah, he came in a little bit. Backstory was just I was working at that marshmallow shop and got the opportunity to get trained by some people at Stumptown, and they came out and I knew nothing about coffee, and they were like, if you like change, this variable, if you change the grinder, it will like make the coffee taste different. I'm like, what the heck? And so I tasted Hairbender, their signature unnamed blend, and man, it tasted like cherries, and I was like, this is coffee? And I was hooked. So I was just super excited to serve anybody that was coming in. And then so when Ross and his boothang, now wife, came in, we were just chatting. And you got a real one in 2016 when someone walks up and they're like, do you guys do cortados? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah, we do cortados. Don't ask for a cortadito, though. So, yeah, we were just talking shop, and then he was like, bro, I'm going to a coffee tasting tomorrow, like a cupping. in Atlanta. You want to come with me? And I was like, I just met you. And I this time, I'm 18. I was like, will my parents let me do this? I'm like, well, I guess I'm an adult. I can go hang out with some Joe Schmo anyways. And so
The first decision you ever made in your life.
Adult decision, yeah.
yeah, freshly 18. We met up at a Kroger parking lot in Dawsonville, which is like an hour away. And he rolled up in your Lincoln Town Car from what, the 90s?
1997.
Yeah, birth year. Shout out.
That's your birth year, not mine.
That's my birth year. Yeah, I'm a little younger, all right? You always bring it up. But we drove down, and he's just like, we're connecting, we're talking about our lives, and it seems like we're kind of cut from the same cloth, but just never really crossed paths, even though we were pretty close to each other. And yeah, just to hear someone be like, yeah, I'm gonna apply to some of these coffee shops, and if I don't get the job, I think I'm just gonna start my own thing with my friend Riley. I was like, dude, you are nuts. Like, you have no money, you have no like experience, but you have the gall to be like, I'm gonna start my own company. And honestly, it was just kind of like just what I needed in my life, someone to like have the vision and the audacity to go out and do something. And I was so, because I love to work, love to get after it, but I needed a partner, I needed a bro to go after it with. And so getting to get after it with Ross and Riley. I met Riley like a couple of days after to kind of vet that decision, to be the first employee, the first free employee. And the rest is history, man. We've just been growing our relationship as business partners and friends ever since. So it's been sick.
That's awesome. And like you brought in like a really cool element of like what our podcast and like our marriage ritual kind of product is all about, like sort of balancing stuff with the marriage relationship. So Ross, you had already met the one at this point. You met the one before you met the first employee?
The other one?
The other one?
Yeah, I met her in first grade.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So
Kinda
that
creepy,
was
bro.
that was so is it you and Riley were friends for that long, or is Riley the other partner, or is Riley your wife's name?
Good
Riley-
questions. These are good questions.
Riley is our other partner, and my wife also went to the same schools growing up. Her name's Rachel.
Okay, cool. Okay, Rachel.
They,
Rachel. All right.
all three of them met in first grade.
Wow. Okay. And so at this point, you are not married when you meet Ethan,
That's
but
correct.
she's the one. But
soon
it's like
to be engaged. We got engaged. You know what? I think we were actually engaged when Ethan and I met. So yeah, got engaged at 19, married at 20.
I gotta
so
change my
you
story.
just show up, and Ethan is like, this guy has his life on some sort of track, or at least he's got a vision. He knows who he's going to marry. He knows what he wants to do with his career. I can follow these breadcrumbs a little bit.
Found my discipler. Found my rabbi.
Well, then, Ethan, how did you meet your like? What was your relationship status? At that point, like let's talk about what came next for you.
Yeah, I met my wife when I was 13. Our older brothers were bros, and they would just be young adult men together and be goofy guys, and they thought it'd be really goofy to set up their 13-year-old siblings together. So we just got introduced back then, and we talked for a little bit at 13, but that only goes so far. And so we went our separate ways, and then started talking again in high school when we were like 16. And yeah, we dated for 4 years. So I was dating her at the time. She worked at the marshmallow store, and we were commuting to school together, university. And so we would set up the same, try to get as many of the same classes together. So we were like working, going to school together. We were tied at the hip. And yeah, we got married at 20. So like a year into Valor starting. And yeah, so we've been married almost 9 years this November, and yeah, bro, I'm sure you wax eloquently about marriage on this podcast, but it's one of the greatest things ever happened to me. So, and then our other
Beautiful
business partner Riley also got married at 20 to his lovely wife Mikhail. So we all got married like right at the beginning of Valor. So we were starting a company, starting families, all kind of in unison. Kind of creepy, if you ask me. Kind of culty, don't you think, Ross?
Yeah, it kind of is
And you're-
culty.
Yeah, kind of culty.
So all of you had your soon-to-be wives sort of in the picture when the three of you kind of were really moving forward with the business and the coffee side. So
That's right.
Cool. Well, and we do kind of wax, eloquent and lovingly about our marriage relationships, on this podcast. But like the other part of it is really about like the contrasting nature of wedding vows. Like, why do you get married if it like feels so good and voluntary just to like stay together? Like if the vibes are high, just keep riding it. What's the point of getting married? And it's like you actually get married because you're anticipating those negative sides of it, and it is for better and for worse, and richer and poorer. And so like the theme for this month is like with friends and foes, and whether you want to talk about like foes that you may have had with each other or in your lives, how you integrate that into your marriage. Can you think of anything that kind of comes up around how you were able to manage tensions around, friendships and needing more from each other than your spouses maybe were able to give up before that?
Do you mean specifically in marriage or between us as friends and business partners?
Kind of a little bit of both, like more like just teeing up the question. Like we've got these questions that show up in, the boxes that people order. And like, if the question doesn't land the way it's intended, as long as like something comes alive for you in the asking of it, like that is the way to respond to it. So whichever one like came up for you, that's what we want to explore.
Well, yeah, I would say in our friendship between Ethan and I, and also in marriage, you just sort of learn the same lessons over and over again, just deeper and deeper. And I think so much of my difficulty in my marriage just came from immaturity and like insecurity. And, I'm a Christian, and I am like a huge part, I can't even say a huge part. Like me maturing as a man is because of God. Every good thing that I have grown in has been because I have a relationship with him. Like he's my shepherd through life. So like as I go through life, he's going through it, he's leading me through it and showing me things that I'm doing wrong, but not just that, like leading me in a way that will heal myself and people around me. So we just like really got a head start on life, like starting a business and getting married at 19, 20. And then my wife and I had a surprise pregnancy when we were like 22, 23. So like I'm 29 now and I have 3 kids. So we just kind of like sent it. And I'm so glad that was God's plan for my life. And I'm so glad it ended up that way, even though I didn't really chalk it up that way. I think I really needed that. Like a lot of 20-year-olds, it's like, let me live it up during my 20s and explore the world and explore different sexual partners and like really see all there is to see, and then I'll settle down. And it's like, I'm just so glad I didn't do that. And a big part of that was accidentally getting pregnant at 22, 23. Because it just like kind of locked me in to, I better figure this career thing out. And like, I better figure out my walk with God, and I better figure out my community, because I have too much responsibility to be self-centered. And I'm so glad that that pressure was introduced into my life.
Yeah, I mean, just to add a little
like
color, we were to my left was a co-working space, and before we ever had a coffee shop, we had our like a coffee cart, the one that we started our company with, and we got to do like a daily pop-up out of there, basically like pretending to be a coffee shop, and we were maybe like a year and some change into it, you know, and I think we had kind of all started making enough money just from the pop-up to kind of transition to Valor being our thing. And there was talk of us opening the store that we're in right now. But you know, even still, like we're doing sub $1,000 days, like really slow, chill, like, you know, you're a coffee cart in the back of a co-working space in a small town. You're not gonna be making big bucks. And on one of those days, me and Ross are just standing there, and he looks over at me and he's like, "Bro, my wife's pregnant." And I was like, "Oh, no." I was like, "We suck, bro. We have nothing going on. Like, I'm like, "What?"
Did you think you were going to lose him? Like, did you think like there was like the business was at risk because his responsibilities were about to escalate?
Dude, I'm sure that was part of some conversations. We laughed too earlier on, like before, you know, this was like career. We'd all have these different moments of like, guys, just so you know, if God tells me to go do something else, I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna leave this company. And we're like, okay, well, let's just keep trudging, and then if that happens, we'll cover it. But yeah, I mean, just to. If I could say one thing I was thinking based on what Ross said of just kind of what we've learned in our life experiences, that like, you know, deeper roots grow sweeter fruit. And so it seems like, yes, we just kind of got started. There wasn't a lot of like trial and error or experimentation in our lives, but we really like found our people, we found our community, we found our vocational like career path pretty young. And what's cool is through selflessness and through like gratitude and like, yeah, our cups being filled by our relationship with God, the sweetness and the just enjoyment of marriage and our work together and like our lives truly from the bottom of my heart has just been better every year. You know, it's not like a thing that's I think we've just been blessed to be able to learn how to feed the things in our lives well, that, you know, they're not dying. It's not like we started this fun, cool company together, but then, you know, slowly we just didn't talk about our grievances and now we're embittered toward one another. But we kind of had to learn really early on, like, we got to talk about our crap. We got to air it out. We got to get on the same page. We got to make unanimous decisions, you know. Especially when there's three of us, that's just like a triangle, and that's tricky, but it's really healthy because it forces collaboration, it forces innovation, and two of us can't just like steamroll ideas. But yeah, just so grateful that there's complexity to those relationships. And then man, yep, so that's what I was saying. Deeper roots, sweeter fruit.
Yeah, I'm sitting with that a little bit and appreciating the clarity that it seems like you guys had and trust that seemed to be deepening over time. I know Ethan's got a question from one of our cards that kind of leans into some of this from the early days as well, and maybe you started to answer it, but Ethan, you want to read that question real quick from this month's box to see if anything else, you know, comes out from those early days memories?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you guys answered quite a bit of just the dynamics of like friendship, but as this month is like about friends and foes, navigating what that looks like once you get married, and yeah, I'm just curious. The question is, how did you guys figure out the balance between your friendships and your relationship with either the business or marriage? in those early days? And is there anything you wish you would have done like differently?
Sorry, you kind of cut out, but the question was, how do you balance friendship and marriage in the early days?
Yeah, essentially.
And is there anything you would have done differently? You talk about like maturing and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if any of those, things just you wouldn't repeat. Like you said, you're kind of repeating the same things. Like, what are the ones that you're like, you know what, we're finishing that lesson. That lesson is learned, and that's going to stick. Anything come to mind with that?
Well, starting a business requires insane hours most of the time, and that was certainly the case for us. And for me, we didn't take any money from Valor for the longest time. And so that meant I had to work other jobs, and certainly was the case for Ethan and Meredith, his wife, and Rachel, my wife. And so I would play guitar on the weekends in a wedding band, because that was just like, with the time I had left, my highest monetizable skill was doing that. And it was also fun, but
not bad.
It was a great side gig, and I continued to do it until 2026, like this year. But I would do that on the weekends, and then my wife was working. I would also have some other coffee jobs, like really before we went full time with Valor. And early on in a marriage, man, my wife and I talk about this all the time. Like, that time was such a blur in our marriage. There's just like, she would be working on the weekends, I'd be working on the weekends, basically just working 7 days a week all the time, every day. And we would rarely have the same off day. And at night we would just be so tired, and like, it was a difficult time. But the advice that I got early on that I try to remember for myself and give to other people is that life comes and goes in seasons. And that is especially true in marriage, where you need to be able to have a conversation with your spouse that's like, hey, we're entering one of those seasons where I'm going to lock in. And the important part of a season is that it has an end to it. And I think it was just a constant conversation that was always testing our ability to be on the same page, especially when our marriage really lacked intimacy, because we just didn't have very much time together. And so there was a lot of tension early on, because we were always just navigating that moving target of finding time together. And so there's really no tricks to it. It's like, date nights are really important for us, and they're just dedicated time to be with each other, no matter what that looks like. And so I think that kept us strong. And then obviously just our commitment to one another that we made before God and before our community to like show up for each other. But it was tough, and the only way through it is through it, but last thing I'll say is I'm now at the point, especially with 3 kids, where Valor's my only job, and I don't have to work on the weekends, because we've like started to get to the point where Valor can bring in enough money to pay what I need to make to live. My wife's a stay-at-home mom now, and like I said, we have the kids, so it's like it worked in a sense. Like the season ended in one sense.
And the new season has begun.
Season 2.
That
life.
What about you?
Yeah. Well, on the friend level, I was thinking, in the first 3 or 4 years, we kind of like, I don't know if Ross, you'd agree, but we kind of like lost all of our other friends, right? Like, not in a burn bridges way, but just in we got married, and every waking hour outside of being with our wives is going to be either making money and then like growing Valor, and not making money doing that. And so it's been kind of refreshing these past few years on the other side of it to kind of like get back to some of those relationships with childhood friends and people that I ran with in like high school and early college that I still wanted to keep up with. And so even, yeah, respecting the season of that, of like, man, I guess, I don't know if I'd call it a regret, but something I yearned for was, you know, a continuation of some of those relationships. And I'm just so grateful to God that I can like enter into that again in this season of my life, where like, you know, maybe someone I talked to a lot before I started Valor, I didn't, and now I'm kind of picking that back up. So super thankful for that. And then thankful that like somehow we've managed to like be friends and business partners the last 10 years. I feel like we can really like lean on each other when it's time to like take the business hat off and just talk. And then we can also like kind of throw business on and kind of get after each other and sharpen each other up and be honest. And so, yeah, really, really thankful for the way our relationship has managed to stay healthy the last 10 years, because I think it might have been our business partner or our business mentor, Roy, at one of the times was like, you know, you got your guys' dynamic, your guys' relationship sets the standard for this company. And so if you guys splinter, the company will splinter. And so it's kind of a sobering, tough thing to hear, but yeah, honestly, a really core, honest truth, and something that we've seen in other businesses, is like when people, if it's a business partnership and there's just unhealth in the relationship, man, that just spreads like a cancer. So tough, but real. And on the marriage side, yeah, bro, it's crazy. I feel like we owe our wives all the vacations and all the gifties in the world, for how much we were gone, just like getting after it and like taking our little cart out and doing any event that we can, even though it's our 15th, 16th day working. But the seasonal aspect is real. And my wife was she graduated college during our time of Valor. And so there were also seasons where she was having to bust it and I was able to hold it down at home. And so there, you know, and then you have kids and there's seasons where you need to be home and take care of your wife while she takes care of a baby. And so, yeah, trying to take like, I think it's the thing that business partnership, marriage, I mean, it just teaches you how to operate within a system, you know, I think the Western ideologies of individualism, can be really damaging to that construct that, you know, we're just a part of something. And so I just want to like lay it all down with my life, in my marriage and, at work, just to support my bros and then support my family. So yeah, Ross is right. It comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes. And I think I'm learning how to like be sensitive to those seasons too. Like this summer's been great. It's been a little bit more chill. I do a lot of like green buying for Valor, and nice. I have a lot of the stuff lined up. And so we got back from this week-long trip, and I'm usually like, okay, well now it's time to jump right back in. I got back during the work week and I'm going to start working. But I just really felt this check in me to be like, I think I need to like spend some time with my family, which is super normal. But I just have sometimes I got my seasonal radar mixed up, you know, like I didn't need to do that. And so I was like, I think I need to stay home and just like love on my family for a day and a half and then pick back up with work, you know? And then there are seasons like getting back from an 8-day origin trip and you're like, all right, I can say what's up to my family for a couple hours, but then I got to go get back to it. So having that kind of like sensitivity to what your family needs, what your friends need, what your business needs. We need wisdom, right? We need that daily wisdom.
Well, I feel that healthy tension that you guys both hold. If sacred's too strong of a word, but like obviously you hold your marriage as sacred, but it almost seems like you hold your commitment to each other with a level of sacredness or importance, understanding how they both fuel and feed each other, or could, contribute to the disintegration of the other, and not letting one, overwhelm the other.
Yeah, that's right, because my commitment to Valor is not just about me, it's about my family, and it's about Ethan, and it's his family, and it's about Riley, and it's about his family. And it's about all of our employees and their families too.
Yeah. And the community, and all the thing that you recognize didn't exist within your community now does. And you've got people like Ethan who are, coffee pilgrims, who kind of come through and like, oh, wow, this is a place that I'm being drawn to. It's kind of nationally. So like, maybe have you guys like speak for a little bit into like how you have balanced, like sort of how Ethan discovered you as a local coffee shop that was on the way to somewhere else, and how I have discovered you and many others as this sort of national coffee brand that is sharing expertise and growing your e-commerce business, I'm sure, maybe consulting, that kind of thing. Like, how have you balanced the local expression of Valor and the national expression of Valor?
Ethan?
Good question. I feel like we were talking about this a lot because we just went to New York, and there's a lot of global brands there, like highbrow, killer Instagram, super famous spots. And then, low key, the day-to-day ops were kind of like dissonant from the image portrayed. And I think that is one of the hardest things, right? Is to zoom back in. Like, how do you as an owner start something, like go all in, pour your heart out into it, and then it gets to the point where you need to hand it off to somebody else. And what does that look like? And so, yeah, I think our, I don't know, our grace, but also our bread and butter has just been like the gratitude we have for getting to bring in people that are about the same stuff as us, and they want to carry it on, not just for us, right? But for their own like sake, for their own life's calling. And so, because I'm in the back of the cafe right now, but I just kind of like oversee / support the people that are running the cafes day to day. So like, we have very low touch points, especially if you consider the 3 owners. But I kid you not, like the cafes are better than ever. Like they are better than when I was managing them. And that's because like we just continued to like sow into our people, empower them, build up leaders, go slow. And we only have 2 coffee shops. You know what I mean? It's probably like way friggin' harder if we're like 10 cafes in 10 years. That's a lot. That's just a lot of people. It's a lot of people to invest in. And cut to the ugly side. When we opened our second one, we hired 12 people, and I think maybe within a year, all but 1 or 2 of them were left. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to bring in the right people, develop them, find out what they're valuing, what their vision is for their life, finding the alignments, and being like, all right, let's get after this together. Because we just want people that are like absolute day makers and care so deeply, but also are like really good at making coffee. That's just hard. It's hard. It just takes time. It's not that hard. It just takes time, and it takes time, energy, and resources. And then because we have like a team doing that, and it took time, it kind of allows, me, but mostly, Riley and Ross to build out this like podcast, video, sharing content, thing, instead of like, this is 10 years. 10 years is a really long time to some, and then nothing to others. But, we didn't like jump into content right away, but I think we were focusing on what we needed to focus on. And then when the time was right, turned our attention to sharing some things that we've learned along the way. So
sure.
That's a really good question, and something we're always like trying to honor, right? Is how do you give proper time and attention to all these expressions of Valor?
I I want Ross to answer next as well, but I'm smiling, and I think Ethan is nodding along. My Ethan is nodding along as well to what you would describe, because Ethan and his wife Sam have been that for us, to where they have. I don't know if we mentioned this, but Sam is actually the manager of our original location, in a role that Ethan used to have, managing that location, and eventually sort of found his great fit in being our lead roaster. But they are those people who are aligned with everything that we're about, to where they manage it and lead better than we ever did, my wife and I. And so it's just, that was you were speaking from my heart right there as well. So I just wanted to affirm my Ethan and you in appreciation of finding those right people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're definitely grateful for I'd say like at the owner level, the amount of like weight of and decisions to like discern through like what's helpful and how to support all the people involved. I think that's like something that I don't think I personally like in this season would ever be ready for, but just thankful that there are guys like you guys that care. So,
of course.
Heck yeah. Go Zac. Let's go Zac.
And Jessica. Well, Ross,
And
how
Jessica.
would you answer that tension between, because I know you've shared that the podcast and some of the media stuff, you're one of the driving forces behind that, and you've got competent, passionate people doing the cafes. How do you keep yourself still plugged into the local expression and the national one?
Well, the main way that I stay plugged in is I run our wholesale program. And so I'm constantly talking to business owners that are running coffee shops. And that keeps me close to the operation. But I mean, if I'm being honest, it's like a weird look to get on a podcast or get on my Instagram and talk about the inner workings of a coffee shop and barista life, and where the last time I worked on bar was like a long time ago. So recently I've only done it once and a half, like kind of twice, but taking a shift on bar for 3 or 4 hours just to stay close, not because anyone needs my input or I have something special to bring necessarily. It's purely selfish, honestly. Because I want to stay aware of why I got into this in the first place. And I got into this in the first place because I wanted to build a coffee shop that offered 3 Michelin star level hospitality while selling a commodity such as coffee.
Right.
And I still love doing that. And now I get to help other people do that. And that's what I love about our podcast is we just get on there and talk about our journey from the beginning to now and things we've learned along the way. And the people that listen to that podcast are often the best people to work with in the wholesale perspective, because they're aligned with us on a values level. So when they buy our coffee, doesn't matter where they're at in the country, they're not just buying our product, our beans, as their supplier. They're partnering with someone who has the same goal that they do, which is to give great hospitality, brew an amazing cup, but realize that neither of those things are possible if you are not putting your culture and the health of your team at utmost importance above everything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it feels like the proof is in the pudding with like how your brand and your reach, has been growing, and it's exciting to see where you guys have come in 10 years and maybe what the next. I mean, our company is also at the 10-year mark. We started it in 2016 as well, so we're doing some of those same kind of like thank you, like reflections on what the next season might look like. So As we kind of like wind down and like look towards what the future looks like, I wanted to kick it back to my Ethan real quick to maybe ask a final question, and then we'll just sort of wrap with like what's next for Valor.
Nice.
So Ethan, anything as we close that's alive for you?
I've watched Toy Story 3, 4, and 5 this week, and I cried in all of them. And
Thanks for your vulnerability.
I know it's just like exploring like the transition of like change with a kid and a toy, but also parents and kids. But like, yeah, like when there's loss of like friendships, or just it changes, and you're just appreciative for the time that it was there. I don't want to give any spoilers to the 5th one.
Thank you.
Yeah, just like I'm just curious, like what's been, as you guys are sharing, like some of the wisdom that's been passed along to you guys, and just some of the wisdom that you've kind of learned along the way. Apart from the 1 year guys trip, what's a rhythm in your guys' like friendship? You and Riley, like, and Ross, and like, yeah, what kind of tethers you guys outside of work? How's that changed?
Pretty much nothing. I think that especially for us men, and for women in a different way too, maybe for moms specifically in a different way, like the best, most easy friendships are ones where you're building something together. You're like doing something, for moms, like my wife's closest female friends are also moms. They're building something together, they're building their children together. And so they always have like a unified purpose in what they're doing. And I feel the same way with Riley and Ethan. And many of my friends outside of the two of them are building something. They're on their own journey. And so I think that that's just the easiest, best friendship is like, I feel like, Ethan, I don't know if you remember this, but like we used to sort of feel bad for talking about work when we weren't at work. And in vice versa, feel bad for talking about personal while we're at work. And now it's just this nice, like, soup of just life. And, I also think of the sacred secular divide of like, there are certain things that are sacred and spiritual, and then there's other things that separate from that are not sacred and spiritual. I kind of view the same way with work. It's like, we're all just building our lives together. And so there's really no, unless you can think of something else, but like rhythm, or like, hey, every Thursday, you know what? We get together, we have dinner together. That sounds awesome. Right. That sounds awesome. But we just kind of like melded all together and really found like a sweet spot with like, during our meetings, we'll be talking about some business strategy or some issue we're having, and then we'll just pivot topics into something personal for a little bit. We'll pray together. We'll talk about our marriage. We'll talk about kids and kind of, vent that our kids didn't sleep last night or whatever it is. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Couldn't disagree more, Ross. I'm just kidding. We all love football, so we'll try to go to an Atlanta Falcons game once a year. That was literally the only, like, what do we do rhythmically? But you're right. I mean, it's just like, we're just living life together, and it's all gravy. But on the idea of loss, though, I think something that gives me a lot of solace is like, we're really in it together. So I'm I was gonna say, I'm a really relational person. Everyone's relational, but yeah, I've made a lot of my closest friends through people coming to work at Valor. So they'll come and they'll work, and they're just like in my life, like from 0 to 100, at my house, living in my house, for crying out loud. And then 2, 3, 4 years later, they move on. They have they continue their building journey, and I'm like, oh crap, man, I just lost like one of my best friends. And so I think something that we've just grown to really appreciate about each other is like, man, we're just kind of stuck together, and I'm not mad about it. I'm so grateful that like these guys are like, they're foundational building blocks of Valor with me, and other pieces kind of come and go. And I think that's just the best thing about Valor. That can be the worst thing about other places, is like, oh, I can't keep my people. I can't keep good people for long. But someone said this about our Valor one time that just really stuck with me, is like, Valor's like a table, and there's only so many seats at the table, and you can kind of see an empty seat in a couple different ways. You can view it in a scarcity mindset of like, oh no, who's going to come sit down at this? Someone just left. Who else is going to leave? Am I going to be at this table alone? Or you can view it from an abundance mindset of like, oh my gosh, someone's going to go do something. I wonder who's going to get the opportunity to come join us for dinner. Who's going to join us at the table now? And I think the first kind of couple rounds of seeing people that we hired move on, I was like, oh no. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what new friends I get to make along the way. And then I hope that I can, lay my life down for them and see them grow and transform, and then go do something awesome, So we've seen people leave and start other coffee shops, other businesses, be moms, whatever. And just, there's loss to that. There's grief of like, man, honestly, right now in that room, there's two of my closest friends. One's moving to Mississippi, and one is going to Connecticut, and they're both doing amazing things. And they've worked, one of them's worked here for like 3.5 years, and the other one has worked there for like 2 years. And I'm like, I'm so happy for them that they're leaving, because it's just, this is a seasonal job. But my heart does hurt, I'm like, man, this is someone that has like helped raise my kids and like pour into my family. But I'm just like, I know that there's going to be someone awesome who's going to take their spot and steward it well, and get to grow and transform just like they did. So there's loss, but then, super grateful for the relationship with the boys to be kind of anchored in together. It's an honor. Don't tell Riley, by the way.
No. He won't see this. It's fine.
Good.
But I kind of want to preempt the question that I'd set up before, and maybe instead of letting you guys talk about a prediction or a goal for where you want to go next, is rather just like encourage people to like subscribe to your YouTube channel, follow you guys on Instagram, TikTok, all the things to like, we're going to find out what you're going to do next, because you're sharing it. It's not this secretive thing. So I just want to thank you guys for to whatever extent that you're sharing is motivated by letting others learn from it, and that you can be honest about the ups and downs from it. It's benefited others clearly, and it's good content, and it's exciting to see it. So you're off the hook. You don't have to say what's next. Just do what's next and keep sharing it publicly, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Zac and Ethan. This is a fun time. Thanks for listening to us blab for a little bit.
Oh yeah, and you guys have a box coming your way as well. Apologize that we didn't get it in the mail to you sooner. But Ethan, do you have one of the boxes you can hold up real quick to know what's coming their way? So yep. my Ethan is frozen on my screen, but I'm trusting that he's showing the box right now, and it looks beautiful. And you guys will have one with good. Look at that. How good does that look?
Beautiful.
So anyway, all right. Well, we'll end the recording there, and appreciate you guys and for being featured this month and sharing an hour with us and sharing your origin story with us.
Thanks guys.
All right. Cheers.
Peace.
Okay, we've got a new guest in Jacob's Corner today. So, who do we have here?
I'm Ethan, the lead roaster at Honeymoon Coffee. Yeah.
Awesome. So, tell me about it, guys. What are we doing today?
We're gonna have a little bit of fun in the corner today. We're gonna watch Ethan do a roast of the China that we are gonna be offering in the One Coffee Ritual this month. So we're gonna watch him get started. I'll kind of share a little bit about what he's doing as he starts. We'll brew up the coffee on a Chemex, and then he'll share a little bit along the way as well, and then we'll call it a wrap. Yeah, so it'll be kind of fun. We'll have a little bit of fun with this. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Sweet. So you can take it away. Do you want to share anything about this process before you get going?
Yeah, so I guess today we're just going to be roasting the Yunnan China. The process today is just going to take about like 12 minutes for us to roast up a batch. And yeah, I'll just kind of explain kind of what's going on about halfway through the process. But for now, I'll let you roast up a batch.
Seems really surprising that
Up a batch, yeah, you know.
that roasting, 12 minutes for one roast of coffee, like that seems so short comparatively to like this grand machine and the whole setup that we got going on over here.
Yeah, I think it's usually surprising. Like, and you would think that, yeah, they could take a long time or whatnot, but really they're pretty small beans. So we're doing a large batch. He's actually doing 17 pounds that he's loading up right now. But since they are small, yeah, we're in that 10 to 15 minute range on pretty much all of our coffees. So it doesn't take super long. So I'll walk you through real quick what he's doing here. He loaded the beans in the top, and he's going to open this hatch in just a moment when he reaches the right temp. And as it fills, it might get a little noisy. Now the beans are in that central chamber right there, which is the drum of the coffee maker. I like to describe this as essentially an oversized clothing dryer. So there's 24 or so gas burners underneath, and then there's just a cylinder in the middle that just is spinning with little wings in there that toss the beans up in the air. So Ethan is controlling the airflow with the pipe up top. He's controlling the gas with a little lever down here, and he's controlling his heat. And his main goal is to cook these beans with the right amount of airflow, the right amount of heat over the right amount of time. So if it takes too long, he can accidentally bake out some of the flavor. It's too quick, he cannot achieve enough flavor. And so he is monitoring all of that. So we are going to come back while those beans are getting going. They're kind of getting started. There's not a lot of action at the very start. It's just they're just warming up. So while that gets going, I'm going to brew up our China for the day with our Chemex recipe, and then we're going to come back to Ethan in about 4 or 5 minutes. So without further ado, can we talk about the China?
Let's talk about it.
This China is a really fun one. It's the first coffee we've ever had from China. It is anaerobic process, which essentially means that they let it ferment with bacteria that only show up when there's no oxygen present. So it just creates really unique, often very winey and fermented tasting coffee. Not to mention the China itself is just a very nice, almost tea-like in its flavor. Very nice coffee. So what I'm doing is the Chemex recipe from that we put on the One Coffee Ritual website. So it's also my go-to recipe, and it has been for years for making a cup that is great for 2 to 3 people. So essentially what I'm going to do is go grab a scale and be right back. All right. Not going to be a normal corner without a blooper.
That's okay. Yeah.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is start my timer now that I have a scale, and I'm going to pour 100 grams. And essentially this recipe is, it's a handful of pours, and what I'm going to do is pour not too aggressively, but not super, super gently. An initial 100 grams at 45 seconds. I'm going to pour my next pour of 100 grams, and then we're going to follow it with 3 more pours of 200 grams every minute. So
when you say a recipe, what do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, great question. So by recipe, I mean that we have a specific coffee that we've practiced brewing on. We have a specific amount of that coffee and a specific amount of water. So on our website, you'll also find ounces. So if all this language of grams is like this is overcomplicating it, we also have ounces that can make this just quicker and easier. But essentially, what's happening whenever we're brewing coffee is we want to not only use the right amount of water and the right amount of coffee, but also agitate it correctly and allow the water to move through it correctly. So the Chemex is a little bit of a slower process than some pour-overs, meaning that this thick paper on the Chemex is going to cause the beans to the water to drain a little bit more slowly. And then we use a coarser grind to kind of accommodate for that. It's bigger chunks. They brew a little slower because they're bigger. They take more time. So what we're doing with this recipe is finding the right balance of the amount of coffee, the amount of water, and then how much do we really need to agitate this coffee? How much water do we need to pour? The reason that we're doing more than one pour is that each time I pour, again, I'm re-agitating the coffee, extracting a little more out of it. So to explain that grind size a little bit too, on the Fellow Ode, this is a grind size 7 is what I'm using. And on our OXO brew grinder that we recommend, that's about around an 11 or 11 and a half. So that's what I mean whenever I'm describing a recipe. It's essentially with trying to not overcomplicate it too much, because you can get super complicated or you can not. It's just pouring the right amount of water over it with enough patience and enough simulation to get all the flavor out of the coffee in a good amount of time. So this should take about 5 minutes.
Awesome. And how did you like discover a coffee from China? Like, I know that doesn't sound like a common thing at all.
Yeah. It's really unique and really exciting. We have talked about sourcing coffee from China before, but as you can guess, it's often hard to import, hard to get your hands on, especially at an affordable price. On one hand, China's coffee market has just really grown. So here, forgive me, I'm going to pour a little bit real quick. So their coffee market has really grown, and so it's a lot more accessible now. And then we also found this really great importer called Torch Coffee that's doing some really great work. They really dive deep into the quality of the coffee that they both roast and sell green, which by green I just mean unroasted. And so we found them, got some samples from them, got to talk with them, and they hooked us up with this really good China that was also which is really nice, is that it was actually in a price range we could approach. And so we tasted it, we loved the samples, and now have it as an offering both for the one and then for our roastery, Evansville Coffee Company. It's on our site and on shelves and honeymoons. So yeah. So we are wrapping up this. So I'm going to bring it back over to Ethan, and he's going to talk a little more about roasting.
So Paige, what do you want to know about roasting?
I mean, everything. Like, I'm not a coffee roaster. I work in the coffee industry, so I know a little bit, but before working at Honeymoon, I never did. So take me from square one.
Yeah. So I'll just say, like, overall, roasting has a lot of different factors at play that are very context specific to the environment, the machine that we use, the beans that we source, and the processes that they go through. So there's not really a universal set, like, list of rules that we can follow. Even if you had the same machine and the same coffee, the environment that it's in and the certain day and the level of like cleanliness in the pipes is just going to change how we roast that day. And so, as we're in this phase right now, we're kind of seeing some of the coffees develop in their sugars and brown a little bit more. But I got to keep an eye on it to make sure that it doesn't run away. And a lot of it's just trial and error. So we roast it, we taste it, we tweak one factor at a time, and that just gives us a better idea of if there are some guidelines or some patterns that we notice in our context or in our setting. So so right now we're about 3-ish minutes away from the end of the roast. But in a minute and a half or so, I'm going to come up on this phase called first crack. And so a lot of moisture is going to be released from the coffee, and it's going to sound like popping popcorn. So we'll start to hear that, and that just gives me an idea of when we're in the area of developed coffee. And soon after, I'll drop it into the cooling tray, and it'll cool down. Give it a few days, and that's what we brew up and get to drink. So that's pretty much it.
Super fun. It's like, it is kind of like a laundry machine and a old whirly pop all mixed into one.
Yeah. So we're going to let him get back in the zone, because this is kind of the part that really is where he has to be locked in. When the beans do that first crack, that pop that he's talking about, that's really where all the flavor starts to arrive. It's been building up the whole time. The whole process matters, but this is really where it's arriving. So he's, I don't know if he mentioned it, but he's watching his temperature on that screen. He's watching the rate of rise, the rate at which it's cooking, and he's controlling all those factors. So he's making sure that as these beans keep losing moisture, they keep getting lighter as they cook, that they don't take off and cook super, super fast, or that they don't drop in temperature and we lose some flavor. And so he's listening right now to the little popping sound that is first crack, where those beans expand, and really locking in.
What's that thing that he just put his hand on? That looks a little familiar.
Looks a little bit like what's in your hand. That is called our trier. So it's both an opening where we can listen for first crack, that is where there's a hole through the machine, but it's also where we can pull out and actually see the beans. I would ask him to show us, but he's real engaged at the moment. So, but it's where you can actually pull out and see the beans. You can smell the beans. It gives us the tangible, tactile touch that we need. So we can use the computer all we want, but we have to be in touch physically with the beans on every roast as well to truly uphold the quality. So it's about to get real loud here. He's going to drop the beans, and we'll show that. But I just want to go ahead and say that the coffee is ready. So we'll go ahead and prepare to bring this to Zac and Jess. And then we'll leave it to Ethan to finish out this roast. So what you're going to see him do is he's going to be lowering his gas to the very end. He's going to open a lever in just a second, turn on his cooling tray, which is this tray at the very bottom. And all the beans are going to come pouring out, smoking hot. And that tray is actually going to start spinning and cooling the beans. And they're actually going to cool to about room temperature, a little bit above, in a little under 10 minutes. So here it's getting turned on. So we'll leave Ethan to finish up the roast, and let's go take this to Zac and Jess.
Cheers.
So like
Where'd you get that bracelet again?
an Ojai like that.
It says fun.
I know. Well, I mean, like there's the band.
The band, or just you're a fun person?
Maybe I just value fun. I mean, yeah, I was thinking more like
I think
fun
I
the
do
band.
value
Okay.
fun.
All right, we got the coffee for you guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And this is our new China.
The China from Yunnan.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Sorry, shuffling ladies first.
There you go.
No worries.
There you
You
go.
what's up that way? Sweet. All right.
So polite.
All right. And
Thanks,
I
Jake.
will leave you with some questions.
Okay.
Give Mama J the pink card since I know it's your favorite color.
Okay. And I get the dark brown. Okay.
Wait, did we just pick one that we want to ask of all of these?
Yeah, it's just like to kick off a question. Oh man. It's fun because like enough time has passed since I wrote them that like they're fresh. Huh. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got. Do you
got
want to?
mine.
Okay, you got yours. Okay, go ahead and
You
ask.
want me to ask first? Okay, ladies first. How well do you feel that we are each balancing the amount of friend time in our lives that takes us away from each other?
Man. I think that you actually give me you're very generous with, like you give me as much friend time as I want. Like it's amazing. Like I think there are
Always.
a large amount of the time that
Okay, but what's the one thing that will get me? With
if I invite
friend
friends
time?
to our house and you have to clean up.
Or you don't give me advance notice and you say, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you.
By the way, the next
I'm having people over tonight."
yeah.
And I'm like, "I haven't cleaned the bathroom."
I guess I know, but like if it's like my guy friends, we'll just pee outside. Like it's not as big of a deal. Like and like yeah, you're right. I wouldn't care about that. But in terms of like time with friends, I feel like if anything, I'm encouraging you to do that more. Like, should you?
And should I want to?
Yeah.
For me, I'm very like, I don't mind alone time, and sometimes that recharges me more.
Yeah.
But I know that for you, friends is really important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Friends are really important.
yeah. I mean, it's. I hope I thank you enough for that. If I don't, like, I truly like do appreciate it. Like, it's a part of what I think you believe I need.
Yeah.
And so, and I think you also believe that I want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
And so it's
We
not
spend a lot of time together.
right. And so it's like, oh, he'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
Yeah. I know it kind of recharges your battery.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's good.
My question like kind of builds on that a little bit, I think,
Okay.
or at least on your side. So is there a friendship in your life that has faded since we got together? Not because of a falling out, just because life changed. Do you miss it? Is it worth trying to revive?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I feel like there are some friendships that have faded. I guess the life change or the life quake is the opening of Honeymoon.
Yeah.
And so my life, for better and for worse, has somewhat revolved around the needs of the shop. And especially as we've grown into multiple locations, it takes a lot to coordinate things. And so I think there are some friendships that I haven't prioritized that I would definitely probably like to. And when we get together, like, it's great. It's like we were never apart, but I should be more intentional about reaching out. And even like, I think about my sister, like we were best friends and she's living in California now and there's a time change and we're both busy and
All right. A good window for you is not necessarily a good window for her when you
right.
call.
For some reason, the 2-hour time difference is like, just makes things challenging.
Yeah. Well, even like my brother, it was his birthday yesterday, like trying to call it, like I was trying to time it, like how am I going to call him? Like this is not I mean, you can text happy birthday, I guess, but I was like, I need to call. And then my mom said like, oh yeah, he's in New Zealand. And I was like, it's already tomorrow. Like I missed it. I missed it. Exactly. And he was like asleep. So then, I texted him because I didn't want to.
So you did text him.
But it was out of love and respect. Well, and then like you talk about with relationships and friendships and spending time, like, do you feel like your social battery and your sort of friendship needs, that like social side of it, are more fulfilled by virtue of the fact that a lot of the work that you do at Honeymoon, like with our employees, like it's with people, like they've become your friends. I mean, it's not like a total like you're still in a position of like leadership above them, but you still like love them.
I do. So I do feel like I get a lot of my like friend energy at work. Maybe that was something that people would tell you not to do, but for us, I feel like we want to like the people that we work with. And so it is kind of a natural and organic thing. And so, yeah, I also think that sometimes, like last night, you were like, hey, I'm doing this thing with my friends. Do you want to come? And I was like, sure, I'll come. I had no idea.
Right here.
I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I feel like we tend to jive with each other's friends. And so that's something that's positive in our relationship.
Yeah. No, it's nice to know that like you're at least willing to give like all of my friends like a shot.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just like closed off to, I'm not going to, even let this person into my life at all. So
yeah.
I appreciate that too. Did you see any questions on the back, like that around like the FOES side of things?
All right.
Did you? Or are you checking right now?
I'm checking. No, I didn't turn it over.
I got one.
Okay.
Is there someone in your life that you know that I am not a fan of? Do you understand why I feel that way? Is there anything you'd want me to understand about why that relationship still matters to you? Gosh, I almost feel like this one would be like a little too heavy to like name names like on camera.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
Well, you can answer like in detail later, but did anybody come to mind?
no.
Okay. Well,
I
maybe
don't know if I have anyone that you disapprove of.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I feel like in my past life, like, you would have judged some of my like wilder days
Definitely
and
would have.
some of my
I
friends.
definitely would have judged some of that.
But no one in my current life that I can think of.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, I feel like what I know about, it's almost like you have like 3 seasons of your life. You had like, I don't know, childhood, adolescence, and those were sort of your wild days. And then it was like, get pregnant, become a mom, and it was like
motherhood.
Yeah, but you had like a total transition from that, and like the people who you were hanging out with and the things that you guys were doing is like, yeah, that's not going to work for being a mom. And then like you had like that whole era, and then I meet you, and it's like you're still kind of in the mom era, but not as much.
I feel like I was in the mom/career.
Yeah. And so then like there really didn't need to be like anything that might have like held you back from being a good mom would have already been sort of like discarded.
I was already at least 10 years into it.
I mean, I feel like you do have like this group of friends that like all of you kind of transitioned into that mom era, and like it was like, okay, we're not gonna party as hard maybe as we did when we were in high school. So you guys all sort of like realized you needed to bring out different things in each other in your 20s and 30s than maybe you did as teenagers. And I feel like I do try and encourage you to spend
Hang
that
out
time
more?
with them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I still hang out with a group of girls from high school, but I also got pregnant at 18, my senior year of high school, and had a baby. So our lives were on like completely different paths. So that's kind of like ties back to did I grow apart from some people? Yes, because I was in a totally different stage of life, but not because anything weird happened.
Yeah. Well, do you have anybody like that for me?
I can think of one, but I'm not going to name names here.
Yeah.
Can you think of one?
Something to talk about later, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the idea of a foe or a foil or an enemy or something like that, do you feel like you encourage me to bury that? You know, like to transition that whole like love your enemy kind of thing? Or do you feel like you want me to have boundaries for that enemy?
I feel like I just don't want to have that in our lives at all. Like if we had someone that we were actually a foe, an enemy type person, that I would definitely want to. I'm a person that likes to like resolve conflict.
Yes.
And so for me,
And if you can't resolve it, you avoid it?
I avoid it. Yeah. So then I would just kind of not want them in our lives at all, I guess.
Yeah.
And we have one of those.
I feel like we have that a little bit too. Yeah. Well, what do you think of the coffee?
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's not at all what I expected when they said
Coffee from China?
I didn't know what to expect, but
Yeah.
it's actually really kind of fruity.
And you said that you were not interested in visiting China.
So my son, he just started a new job, and he found out that they're sending him there for 2 weeks. And I was like, I just don't have a desire to go there.
And I thought that what a freaking amazing opportunity. What a lucky guy. Like, it's awesome.
It's really
Maybe-
far. It's really far away.
We've gotten to visit, South and Central America a couple times to visit these coffee farms, and I would absolutely do Chinese coffee farm if we could. So
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you.